This is day 13 of best star powers and gadgets for every single brawler. Today's brawler is Poco. Let's get right into it. Now, the gadget I would recommend for Poco is Tuning Fork. Now, it heals allies and is basically better mainly because he's a supportive brawler and can be used practically in every map, any game mode, and I'm pretty sure it can go through walls, so yeah. Next up, if you want to be more supportive Poco, I would recommend De Capo, mainly because it's good and you can heal your allies with your attack, so it's actually kind of good. But if you want to go a little bit offensive, get some of that damage in with his super, Screeching Soul is the way to go, mainly because it does 1,444 damage, so that can also be really good. And also, I just want to say thank you to everybody that has commented and liked on the series that I made so far. So anyway, I'll see you in the next one. This is day 14 of best star powers and gadgets for every single brawler. Today's brawler is Rosa. Now let's get right into it. Now, I would recommend unfriendly bushes because most maps have a lot of bushes, and this basically prevents people from getting into them. Plus, they get slowed, so it's also really good. But if it doesn't really have a lot of bushes, I guess you could use Grow Light because it just adds bushes to the map. But also, if there are wall breakers, then you can easily get them destroyed. But if you get Grow Light and have her star power Plant Life, she recovers 307 health per second while in a bush, so this can be really good. Or if you want to go a little bit defensive, if you want to get a little bit extra damage, then this star power is for you, because Thorny Gloves, basically when her super's active, then she gets more damage with her super, so yeah. This is day 15 of best star powers and gadgets for every single brawler. Today's brawler is Jessie. Now let's get right into it. Now, the gadget I would recommend for Jessie is Recoil Spring, mainly because it doubles the attack of her turret for 5 seconds, which can come in really useful. But if you want to get a little bit more damage in, I would currently recommend Spark Plug, mainly because her turret puts a little voltage thing outside that makes a little area that also slows down enemies, which is actually really good. For her star power, I would recommend Shocky, mainly because it copies the same mechanism that Jessie has for her basic attack, which can bounce off of enemies, which is also really good. I would recommend this one in Heist, mainly because it can just go ballistic if you have Recoil Spring too. This is day 16 of best star powers and gadgets for every single brawler. Today's brawler is Dynamite. Now let's get right into it. Now, the gadget I would recommend would have to be his Sensual Charge, or whatever it's called. Basically, it just stunts his enemies with his next attack. This is actually a little bit better, mainly because you can get more damage in and you can destroy your enemies with this. His Fidget Spinner, not every attack lands, but it does do 2,160 for every one that lands, so yeah. Now, Dyna Jump is actually really good if you can play Dynamite really well. Now, this can come in clutch if you are dealing with characters like Mortis that have a dashing ability, and you could just jump right over them and do some sick stuff. But the gadget I would recommend is Demolition. It adds more damage to Dynamite's super, which does come in useful, especially with tanky brawlers. So yeah, anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. This is day 17 of best star powers and gadgets for every single brawler. Today's brawler is Tick. Now let's get right into it. Last Hurrah is a good gadget to have if you're going against melee brawlers or a game mode that has a lot of melee brawlers common in it, mainly because Tick gets a shield for 1 second, and also it knocks back enemies that are really close to him, plus it does damage, which comes in clutch. But if you're in a game mode like Hot Zone or something that you do need the area control for, I would recommend Mine Mania, because instead of the basic 3 that he uses in his normal attack, it adds 3 more to that, so he has 6 mines, so it does pretty good. For star power, Auto Tick Reload basically just makes his reload 9% shorter, which is also really good if you want to get that area control, but it's also really good. Now, Well Oil just makes him heal faster. Now, me personally, I just used his Auto Tick Reload. That's in my opinion. That's what I think is good, but Tick is just good in general and is pretty fun to use. This is day 18 of best star powers and gadgets for every single brawler. Today's brawler is 8-Bit. Now let's get right into it. Now, Cheat Cartridge is actually really good, mainly because if you're playing a game mode like Gem Grab, then it's actually pretty good, because if you are the gem carrier, then you can instantly teleport back to a passive safe space that your friends can be going in and just destroying everybody. If you want a little bit speed-ish, kind of, because 8-bit's pretty slow, I would recommend plug-in. But if you want more range with the super, so you can get the most damage in a single area as you possibly can, I would recommend boosted booster, mainly because it increases the damage booster's range by 15% and boosted damage by an additional 15%. I meant to say his range by 50%. I understand. I just got that right now. This is day 18 of best star powers and gadgets for every single brawler. Today's brawler is Rico. Now let's go right into it. Now the gadget I would recommend for Rico is Bouncy Castle, mainly because his next attack will heal him if it bounces off walls, which does come in clutch with game modes that have a lot of walls, like Knockout and stuff like that. Certain maps are really good, but if you want to just see if you can get a little bit of damage in here and there, I guess you can use multi-ball launcher, but it's not as good as this first one, or second one, my bad. Now, if you do want to get more damage from Rico's attacks in a very wally map, then I would recommend Super Bouncy. But if you don't want that and you want more speed when you get low, I would recommend Robo Retreat, because if his health falls below 40%, then he gets 34% faster. Now, that's pretty good. This is day 20 of best star powers and gadgets for every single brawler. Today's brawler is Frank. Now let's get right into it. Now the gadget I would recommend is his second gadget. I don't know how to say any of those words, but basically his next attack does extra damage, plus it pulls in enemies, so it does really good. But his first gadget, active noise canceling, is actually really good, mainly because if he gets stunned or something, you can activate it and he can't get stunned, which is actually really good. Now for star powers, if you're going to use that pulling gadget, Power Grab might be your way to go, mainly because he has a 50% damage boost for 12 seconds, which is a lot. But if you don't think that you'll get a lot of eliminations with Frank, I would recommend Sponge, mainly because it just gets more health for him, so it's pretty good. This is day 21 of best star powers and gadgets for every single brawler. Today's brawler is Daryl. Now let's get right into it. The gadget I would recommend for Daryl is Tar Barrel, mainly because it can be used anywhere in any game mode and can't really be messed up a lot of the time unless you are just very bad at moving close up. So yeah, but if you're in a game like Heist, I would recommend his first gadget, Recoiling Rotator, mainly because he attacks while spinning and it just does really good against the high save. So for star powers, they both involve a super, but Rolling Reload is my personal favorite, mainly because it doubles the reload speed for 5 seconds after his super. But if you want to take less damage, I would recommend Steel Hoops, mainly because all damage is reduced by 25% for 2 seconds after the barrel roll. So yeah.